All right, keeping up with the fun. Welcome to Earth Science. Down to our last one, which we're going to do in two sections again, just to give it a little bit of context here. We've done like our, deepest parts of the ocean. We've done some pretty tall mountain range, but we still have the tallest of the tall mountain range is to go, and that's going to be what happens when two pieces of continental crusts run into each other. Convergent coming together, continental, continental. So the reason I want to do this in two pictures is because you gotta kind of tell the story here. So a long time ago, well before there were humans to put flags in the ground and say this belongs to me, and we are going to call this India, we're going to call this Asia. Way before any of that happened, this is a land that would eventually be called India and Asia were separate from each other, but on a collision path. So in other words, if we go to that section, there's India. It would have been down here somewhere, but cruising northward up into the mountains. Now you can see the result of this car wreck. It's a big mess. Okay. So that's really all we got to think about here. Um, there would have been an ocean in between them, and there would have been ocean floor on that. And you guys probably aren't as concerned about my color coding as I am, but nonetheless, there probably would have been ocean floor between them. And if you're really clever, you might be saying this drawing is kind of quick and dirty. Um, well, hey, shouldn't some of this subduction zone be happening here? Absolutely, it was happening. So subduction would have been taking place. We would have had like what something that looks similar to today's Andes Mountains already developing over here. But that's not the story we need for now. What we need is what happens if we fast forward this until those two ram right into each other. Okay. I think I'll just keep going in this video rather than doing a separate one. So this is like step one of CC. Now, what's the result? So eventually those two would bang right into each other. And again, this would still have started well before there were humans to call this India, and the other side Asia. But once it happened, big car wreck. Again, like I did with my attendance sheet on the other thing. These two are coming at each other, and they run into each other. It gets crumpled, but it thickens. Like if two cars hit each other, what happens to the hood of the car? It gets all smashed up and crumpled like this. And then up on this side would be Asia. Now, not only does it happen up, but if you really got this idea of isostatic balance popping around in your head, the asthenosphere down here is mushy. You can't just build a tall mountain on it without the crust settling back down into the asthenosphere. So these mountains, not only are they the tallest places on Earth, but the crust goes down deep into the asthenosphere here. The lithosphere goes down deep into the asthenosphere, meaning that this is the thickest part of today's continental crust. It's going to be all kinds of banged up rocks in there. In fact, we think we drew a similar diagram back when we talked about metamorphic rocks, because we're going to definitely have some serious metamorphism happening in here. Of all the pressure from that continent. Here, these tall rocks are actually rocks limestone that form below sea level. So there's your story of how do you get the tallest mountain ranges composed of rocks that form below sea level. This is it. India was, excuse me, driving out of control until boom, plowed into Asia, and it lifted all those rocks right up above sea level. Not just above it, but like almost 9 kilometers above it. All right. I think that does it. So this is, let's call them though. Let's label it because that's going to be on the quiz. There we go. Himalaya Mountains. Yeah, that should do it. Very prone to earthquakes. Tough stuff can happen up there. But that's going to be it. So again, your quiz is going to be take that picture. You'll have to identify it as convergent continental, and you'll have to tell me that those are the Himalayas. Questions 1 through 5 will ask for this name, convergent CC. Questions 6 through 10 will ask for the geographic spot on Earth. So let's zoom out and see what this thing should look like. Your notes should look like that. If I go and see a quiz and I come back and I don't see this, then we're not speaking the same language. I need your help on this. Do your notes and then do the quiz, and you will be in good shape. All right. That is a lot of info. We'll figure out another couple of ways to try to recycle it and come up with some things. But for now, let's take the quiz, and start from there and move forward. Great job. That was a lot of stuff. I appreciate your patience and your hard work always. Take care, folks.